My weakest thing was I didn't know what a screenplay is. So while shooting, you start to understand what's your midpoint, because our cinema requires a very strong midpoint. You see the arcs of career of A.R. Rahman and Waida Rahman and Aamir Khan and Atul Kulkarni. They had all done some incredible work in their life. I have not done anything for my country. So there was that guilt also inside me.
Right.
I didn't, as a youth, I could not serve my country. And I wanted to be a fighter pilot, but I didn't make it. In the first interview itself, I was told, thank you very much. You don't. Most importantly, religious, political, so everybody talks. That the whole gap between rich and poor. You know, if you make 25,000 rupees in India, monthly salary, you are in the top 10% of India. If you are okay with Bhagat Singh shooting at Saunders to avenge Jallianwala Bagh, why am I not okay with shooting the defense minister for what he is doing? वो तो फिर भी they were oppressors. I said, Mr. Field, please don't mind it. Last night my film got released. It's a blockbuster. I am a very rich guy today. Let me put this money to the best use. Kakuri train robbery, walking to the gallows, being tortured ruthlessly by the regime, your fingers being broken, you've been taken to the gallows and you're gonna die. And they lift up the dead bodies. They don't let it enter the public ambulance and they take it away for the funeral. Now that was one day I had to call some 9-10 cameras so that we covered 10,000 people. If I make 5,000 look like 10,000. Big day, makeup, dead bodies, quiet, tears.
Mritu towels from Ramraj, premium cotton and bamboo towels. Super soft, super absorbent.
Let's go holidays. Travel beyond boundaries.
WeCare Super Shield 100 Ultra Defense Broad Spectrum Sunscreen with 100 SPF. Buy now.
Hello, Rakeysh Omprakash Mehra. It's a pleasure to meet you. Big fan of your work. And congratulations on 20 years of Rang De Basanti.
Well, namaskaram and thank you for having me over. I think it's been long due and we've both been around but never got to interact in a chilled out way.
Yeah. You know, before we start talking about Rang De Basanti, and this is purely a coincidence of release, but we're talking about a film that released on Republic Day in 2006. 2026, we're talking about Border 2 being a blockbuster. How do you see this? I mean, do you make a connection at all, or is it just like a random thing? For the record, I found Border 2 a decent movie which does what it wants to do.
No, I'm sure, and people are loving it.
Yeah.
Normally I do not compare things because it's apples and oranges, and both are good.
Yeah.
And both could be rotten. I've done both.
Yeah.
And so that's not the point. And I also do not analyze either my work or anybody else's work. It keeps, for me, actually I don't analyze in life, so it's not about movies. I don't analyze books, songs, people. I am not judgmental and try and stay away from juries, but get caught up sometime or the other, get talked into it, but I try to do all that. So yeah, there is 26 Jan was never a release date before Rang De Basanti. People, wanted Christmas, or they wanted Eid, or they wanted Diwali, or 15th August was the other thing. I very clearly remember, but this is 20 years ago. Things have changed and they should change. So we happened to come on 26th and it kind of worked out. And so, yeah.
Also, another thing that I think Rang De Basanti, and correct me if I'm wrong, pioneered is this, and I'm putting this in quotes, patriotic film getting released on a particular day, which is either like 26th January or Independence Day. Was that a coincidence, the date, or did you say, I want this film out on this particular day?
No, yeah, it was a what we call good accident. These accidents happen in life, incidents and coincidences. This was a really good one. Actually, we were slated to release on the 19th of Jan.
Okay.
It got pushed to 26 because we were waiting for the censor certificate to come in. We had to clarify certain requirements of the Defense Ministry because the film involved MiGs and Defense Ministry and all that. So that kind of pushed us, but all happens for the good. I always say that. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you think about the film, when somebody mentions Rang De Basanti to you, what is the one, I'm sure there are many memories, but what is the one thing that almost always comes back to you, either an emotional memory or something that happened during the shoot or something that you were waiting for, or
It's a mix of emotions. It's a basket of emotions. There's no one thing. A lot of my childhood comes into my head.
okay.
We used to go to my paternal grandparents are from Old Delhi. So 15th August, we would go there much earlier and to flag kites. And you could hear the Prime Minister's speech. And then there were songs playing in all the lanes, which were patriotic songs. So what goes into your ear and enters your heart as a kid, somewhere stays with you. Mm-hmm. I also remember Doordarshan used to play Shaheed on 15th August every time around that time, and films like that, pretty Hakikat. So they did make a huge impact on me. Also, then growing up, I'm from an Air Force school. When we entered, if we still enter the school, I keep going back to my school, Bal Bharati Air Force in Lodi Road, New Delhi. There's a MiG-21 right at the entrance. It's a shell without the engine, and it's an installation. So we used to play around it. We used to get punished under it. We used to have a tiffin there. We used to go to air shows. Most of my teachers were wives of fighter pilots, wing commanders, Air Force officers. So their children were also in the school. So by default, you felt an extension of the Air Force family as such. And I wanted to be a fighter pilot, but I didn't make it. In the first interview itself, I was told, "Thank you very much. You don't cut it." But that stayed. And then later...
Did they tell you why?
Huh?
Did they tell you why?
My science was not there for a fighter pilot.
Okay.
I was a commerce student. And so, it's okay.
Okay.
It's when I found myself in the director's chair, I wanted to do something about that. And that's how Rang De was born. And when MiGs were crashing, and then the CAG found a 2,000 crore corruption scandal of buying spare parts from Chechnya. Russia had, USSR had broken up. So all this was going on. And at that point of time, NDTV did a lovely documentary called Coffins in Tricolor, where our kids were dying. So the defense minister took a joyride from Ambala wearing a G suit, and his first statement was, "Look, the plane is safe. I just flew in it." और ये युवा जो हैं होश में नहीं जोश में plane उड़ाते हैं. So that got your blood boiling, and you had to now make a movie.
You made Aks in 2001. And then this came about 5 years later, 2006. What was the churn inside you about the next movie? Was it immediately, okay, I've got to make this next? Or were there a series of other things that you considered before landing on this?
Aks I really enjoyed. It was my debut film with none other than Amitabh Bachchan, Manoj Bajpayee, Raveena Tandon. And we had some amazing music going on.
Yeah.
And I used to direct art films before that. Loads of them. I've done over 200. I made the film and felt that direction and directing actors is coming naturally to me. Technique I don't have to think about. That also comes to you.
Yeah.
And my weakest thing was I didn't know what a screenplay is. I know what a storyline is, what a novella is, what a playwright also I don't know actually. At that point of time, I realized that there is something called a screenplay, dude. So I started reading as many books on screenplay writing, and one name that stood out in the shelves in any bookshop anywhere in the world was Syd Field.
Yeah.
And I kept reading him a lot, again and again, again and again. Tried to understand how to structure a film and how to break the structure. Actually, what I learned from Syd Field was actually that there are structures, but you can. The beauty about cinema is that you can jump time and you can break structures.
Right.
So, with all that angst and whatever little knowledge one has gathered and anger boiling within you, and also there was a sense of that I have not done anything for my country. You know, we are all fence sitters, we always point a finger and you say, वो नहीं हो रहा है, ये नहीं हो रहा है, electricity नहीं है, roads में गड्ढे हैं. But none of us have gone out there and said कि ठीक है, so I'll join BMC ना. I'll make the roads. I'll join IAS, I'll make it happen, or IPS. It's a huge one to fight the system being in the system. So there was that guilt also inside me.
Right.
I didn't, as a youth, I could not serve my country. So when you're in the director's chair, you wanted to have a conversation with the youth then. Guys, America is not the promised land. Definitely, there's no olive hill out there.
Right.
So yeah, and in my generation, everybody was studying, and their ambition was to go to the US, to the university, or do IIM, IIT, and use all the subsidies that the government provides and go and pass the advantage to the US.
Right.
And it was widely known as brain drain at that point. Doctors, engineers, all of them.
Yeah.
So I felt the opposite. So that all these things combined kind of come out in Rang De Basanti.
Right. You spoke about structure. I want to ask you two things about structure that I really love about Rang De Basanti. One of the things that one usually reads in screenwriting books is that the inciting incident must happen within 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is. That's one thing that people usually say. Here, Madhavan's death, I don't think it's a spoiler anymore. So it's like Madhavan's death happens well into this, in the second half. So till then, there is something else happening, but the real inciting incident, so to speak, happens post-interval. That's very interesting to me. The second decision I'd like you to talk about is usually the interval is always a moment for a high point.
Dang, dang, dang.
Yeah. So it's when all the threads that you've been following kind of come together and promise you the collision that will take you to the second half. And here it's the softest interval where Madhavan proposes to Soha, all the friends celebrate, and you're left with that high of that moment before you enter the tragedy of the second half. Can you talk about these two decisions?
You know, it's best to be when you're not intelligent.
Oh, please, do not.
And you're learning.
Okay.
Yeah, and you do things which the world feels as stupid.
Okay.
And for me,
were there people around you saying, don't do this?
All the time.
Don't have the interval song?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
There were so many noises after that. So nobody knew me in the industry. I'd made one film and then gone quiet, gone into a hole, quietly writing my next film. Took it to Aamir, he liked it. So let's talk about the structure first. Yes, a classic structure is 3 acts, which is beginning, middle, and end. Beginning being the setup, middle being the conflict, and the end being the resolution. As such, though I feel you can start with the end also.
Yeah.
And so we started with the hanging of Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, and Sukhdev. And then you jumped into, oh, what's a setup? Then you jumped back into, and actually Aamir told me a very good thing one day. We were watching Rang De on the 10th year, and we came back home and we were, all talking about it, how it felt. He said, Mehra, I think you made a song. You made a very lyrical film. You've gone with the beat of the heart. You haven't considered any rule. And songs which surprise you stay with you. They don't follow a structure. So I think a free-flowing structure is far more interesting, and that then to tie yourself and work within a predefined plot point 1, midpoint, plot point 2, and the climax. So, and plus the interval point. Yeah, it felt right. So one said interval. It totally felt right, because then you were changing gears after that. You were getting into deeper waters.
Yeah.
And why do we have to feel interval ke baad ab kya hoga? What next? Or the picture tears and there are 2 guys, and it's not a suspense thriller. Rang De Basanti is a drama.
Right.
It's a socio-political film. It's a family film. It's about our children.
Right.
So why can't I leave the audience with a warmth in their heart? Because I felt so good about that moment and going into out of focus shot going. And A.R. Rahman did ask me, are you sure? You want this interval to come at this song? I said, it felt so. When I was shooting only, I knew it, that I got my moment.
It's when you had the screenplay, what was the interval point?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't write intervals.
Okay.
I keep it fluid. And then because so much happens, so much magic happens on the set, so much improvisation happens, that you just might find another moment. But if you're pre-decided, see, there cannot be an interval in a story.
Yeah.
It was done in India because we had 3.5-hour long movies.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of sales came from the canteen, the samosas and the dosas and the idlis, and now hot dogs and all that, pizzas also, I believe. So it was a business decision combined with the length of the film. People had to go and use the restroom and so many things like that. So I normally don't write intervals. It's a post-ka feeling when it comes to interval. Yeah.
So when you edit, is when you decide this is the...
So while shooting, you get you start to understand what's your midpoint, because our cinema requires a very strong midpoint. I thought All the Friends Together is a very strong midpoint.
Lovely,
because it was about friends and they were all going to die except the girls.
Yeah, I mean, of course, in hindsight, one can always say that's the best decision, but while doing it, it must have been a...
I just realized after talking to you why it happened. I didn't do it, it happened.
It happened.
Things happen to you. And you claim ownership of it, but I don't claim ownership. I don't even claim ownership on Rang De Basanti.
Yeah.
I always feel there's somebody else who made that film. There was another Rakeysh Mehra, and the energies were different. Obviously, the age was different, and the beard was not so white. Hair was really long, and he would never listen to anybody. He still doesn't listen to anyone, so it's fine. Yeah.
You just mentioned that it just happened. Rahman likes to say that he's a vessel for music, and It comes from somewhere and it passes through him, and he's the vessel. So he's basically, it's a romantic notion, and I'm sure he believes it. He believes it in religious terms, or however spiritual terms probably. So do you believe in some way that you were the destined vessel for Rang De Basanti?
More than a vessel, I could say I was a copper wire through which the electricity passed.
Okay.
So I was not the electricity. I was the conductor of electricity, and I could take that high voltage.
Right.
Because it was very high voltage electricity. So I could absorb that.
Right.
And sleep well, not be awake. I have to admit to you, after writing a scene, I would sleep like a baby. After shooting for a day, I would sleep like a baby. It's because you suddenly felt so light, and you felt so good inside, and you felt good outside. So you would sleep and wake up afresh as a newborn. So never I had a thing where I was, say, let's call it tension in today's world, or what is the other word we use?
Sleepless nights, all those.
All those things. And why would one have sleepless night? Anxiety, yeah, that's another one I've learned recently. Well, if you're concerned about your work, you do something about it. You work harder to make it better. Your writing is not working, tear the page, rewrite it. What is the anxiety about it? What can there be anxiety about it? We do it to ourselves. Sorry.
But Rakesh, are you saying that in all these years you've been a filmmaker, you've never experienced any anxiety?
No, I would lie if I said that. Whenever I've faced anxiety, I've screwed up.
Okay.
So whenever I've been relaxed, in tune with myself, I have excelled.
I love that, in tune with yourself. That's lovely. Yeah.
That's the time I'm able to present the best version of myself, which is through my work. Whenever I've been worried and full of anxiety and scared of something, I've done a very bad job. So I need to be very, very happy while writing and making a film. But you learn the hard way. Yeah.
So would you say you were in tune with yourself? I just love that phrase now. While making Delhi 6 as well?
I was, while Delhi 6, 100%. It's one of my most personal works.
Yeah.
And one of my most favorite childs. So, while Delhi 6 was a blast, and not because I made it, but what a lovely movie. And I got very attached to it. So when it didn't do well in the box office, I went into a dark hole also for some time. But I emerged out of it after 6 months, called Binod Pradhan, a cinematographer, and told him, Binod, abhi picture baki hai. We need to shoot for 3 more days. So then we shot the beginning and the end, which we call the director's cut or the Venice cut. It went to Venice Festival.
Right.
And yeah, that's the one closer to my heart.
Closer. But Rang De Basanti is also close to your heart.
100%. All my films are.
All your films are.
All my films are.
But I love the fact that because many filmmakers are they hesitate in saying things like, I made a good movie. I just love the fact that you're saying you like what Delhi 6 became. That's lovely, because it's a kind of beautiful ownership. You're not abandoning it or saying, it's for others to decide or something like that. I love the fact that
not at all. And I screwed up. And it took me 6 months to realize. And Ronnie Screwvala used to say, okay, you're done with your therapy now, na? Now what you want? Let's start shooting your next film. Because he believed to get out of a dark space, it's better to start work again.
A new one, yeah.
I said, no, I am feeling incomplete. I will go to my grave in incomplete, Ronnie. Let me do this. I'm doing it at my own cost. He said, did I ever say any cost? You shoot what you want to shoot and do whatever you want to do. So we went back to my original idea.
Right.
Where in the beginning of the film, the protagonist is already dead. and it's his voiceover walks us through the film. So you realize this boy is going to die, which is Abhishek Bachchan, and it's a completely new experience. Yeah, it's like American Beauty. Yeah.
At any point during the movie, Rang De Basanti, when you were writing or shooting or editing, or at any point did you realize before the release that I think this is going to become something really special? Did that realization happen, and when?
No, we didn't. Not
That-
at all. No, not at all.
Okay.
I'll be very honest with you. These words, special, and that, oh, it's gonna blow up and all that, are told to you later on, and then you start feeling, oh, we were doing something special. No, we were just going and telling a story which we truly believed in, saying it passionately, saying it to the best of our knowledge. I was blessed with talent like A.R. Rahman, Wahida Rahman, Aamir Khan, Atul Kulkarni, Om Puri, Anupam Kher, Kiran Kher. So there was the universe was conspiring around me. As such, there was so much of Binod Pradhan. I call him Bin Goff.
Yeah.
Because Binod and Van Gogh is combined to Bin Goff,
Yeah.
my cinematographer. The sound, Nakul. So they were all people who had been there and done it. I was the only person who had not been there and done it.
Yeah.
You see the arcs of career of A.R. Rahman and Wahida Rahman and Aamir Khan and Atul Kulkarni. They had all done some incredible work in their life.
Right.
And here I was on my second film and still not listening to anybody. So we had this beautiful music and we started picturizing it. So I broke it to everybody. Nobody's singing the songs. Why are you mouthing it? Even the Rang De Basanti song, I think that was the first one we shot. So I said, you guys are not singers. You're college students. You'll be completely out of tune. You cannot sing in Dilegre Mendy's voice. Please believe me. So they said, Yeek hai. Then there was again a small get together. And Aamir said, are you sure? And Rahman said, are you sure? I said, yeah, we should hear the song. As such, God has given us ears to hear. So, it's not that I have anything against lip sync songs, but more often I've not used lip sync.
Right.
After Raqs, so I didn't use it at all. Even Delhi 6 I didn't use. Bhag Milka Bhag. Havan Kund was more like a chant than a song. That was the only song. And there was a club song because the band was singing there, where I actually casted Loy,
Right.
Shankar Ehsan, Loy ka Loy, to play and sing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that also the audience found fresh. There were a lot of fresh points for the audience. One was nobody's dancing. It's not choreographed. The big star is not in the front. He's part of the group. They're having a conversation. There's no dialogue baji. Hum ye kar denge, hum wo kar denge. And the music we are enjoying because they're not singing, so we are enjoying. They've given the music to us
Yeah.
to interpret rather than ये फला actor का गाना है, उसका गाना है, all that. Yeah. So maybe Radio Day has helped. Yeah.
But when you earlier on you mentioned Shaheed, watching movies like Shaheed,
Yeah.
and those are all films like Manoj Kumar films, whichever. Those are all films in which people are very unapologetic about lip syncing the song.
Yes, of course.
And you grew up with those films.
Yeah.
So what made you say that's not what I want in my cinema?
Listen, my god of cinema are there are a couple of gods, not one. So there is V. Shantaram.
Yeah.
Only did musicals.
Yeah.
And like how? A subject like Do Aankhein Bara Haath, and if I'm not wrong, it got the Golden Bear also at Berlin. And it's full of music.
Yeah.
And it's convicts from the jail who are murderers who are singing.
Yeah.
Taka taka dum dum, taka
Yeah,
taka dum
yeah.
dum, taka taka dum dum. All those.
तो
all
क्या
those
करोगे डर जाओगे
हाँ.
yeah
वो सब चल रहा है. तो but I think differently. I don't think like Manoj Kumar. I don't think like Raj Kapoor. So I have to tell myself, who are you? So the other thing, I have a conversation with myself in the mirror, virtually every day. It's a stupid conversation because you're looking at a stupid face. You can only have a stupid conversation. No, it's very funny to talk to yourself. And sometimes it's like happy conversations, sometimes like, what are you doing, man? All that. So, so there I have to tell myself that stay yourself. It is a blessing that you find yourself in the director's chair. I haven't been to a film school. I've never assisted anybody. First time I saw the camera is my shooting, all that. So somewhere this great desire to tell story, which was there from childhood, but it was not I will make cinema. That was never there. Has manifested itself, and the desire has become your luck, and it's through your action as such. So I have to keep reminding myself that you're doing nothing special.
Right.
Go out and express yourself. If you're not expressing yourself, then you're cheating. You're cheating the profession. You're cheating your masters, whom you used to love. Love Kurosawa was like ultimate for us. No question about that. And then there were such great names of cinema, and their work is like, wow.
Yeah, I'm having, it's one of those moments where I'm having a little bit of thing because, like, say, comparing Shantaram's and Navrang, or seeing that that's been an influence on you in some way, or rather it's something that you consider.
Totally.
Yeah, that's very interesting because on the surface you would not see the similarity at all between the things that you make and the things that Shantaram makes, but somehow he's been some kind of triggering influence.
I remember we used to shoot in Raj Kamal,
Kalamandir,
which belonged to V. Shantaram. One day I was shooting in the night, he came up and he scolded me.
Okay.
Was,
was he wearing his...
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
On a night shoot, he wore that and came.
Okay.
And he just said, "What are you shooting at 2 in the morning? Let people sleep." And for us, we would shoot 24/7. And his school was more different, so all that. And that's the only interaction I had with him, which was to get a scolding. Otherwise, I would go to Raj Kamal, and there's a gallery there which has all his awards and movies. And I would spend half an hour looking at it. I must have seen it 5,000 times. Because I've gone to Raj Kamal 5,000 times. So once you enter the place, and all the music of all my films is remixed in Raj Kamal. Now the studio is no more. So I at least wanted to be in the same theatre where the great V. Shantaram mixed his music. And so all the music, if you see on the credits, is Raj Kamal Kalamandir, nowhere else.
A little while ago, you mentioned that this is a socio-political drama. But I think one of the strengths of Rang De Basanti is also that it's not an easily classifiable film because it's a political thriller, it's a coming-of-age film, it's a kind of a historical allegory kind of thing. There's a lot of things. It's a campus drama. There's a lot of these elements coming together. And it just, again, looking back, it just seems this incredibly ambitious venture, which is not to say that the other films are not ambitious, but when you were writing it, did you realize that I'm probably throwing in all these things together?
There was no other way of telling this story.
Right.
This came about as the best way. It's not that, oh, let's do this. Oh, it's made such a sounding so good. There are two lines in the film. One of the armed revolution of India, which started with Ram Prasad Bismillah, Shakullah Khan. They passed the baton to Chandrasekhar Azad, who then joined strengths with Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Sukhdev, Durga Bhabhi. So, always used to make me wonder what made Bhagat Singh put down his pen. He was a journo and pick up a gun. And all these are youngsters, college-going boys. Average age they walked to the gallows was 23 and a half. So there's this storyline going on. There's another storyline going on in 2006, which is Delhi University boys, their aspirations.
Cynical boys.
Yeah. Like us.
Yeah.
Not just cynical. There was nothing wrong in going to America or escaping life. Yeah. It was just like, and I based a lot of them on my close friends.
Right.
And took traits and mixed it. So these stories are going together. And then they would crisscross at some point, which was a cinematic moment as such. But the moment they crisscross, there's a spark that happens. And then this starts happening more often. And then they overlap and the lines blur.
Yeah.
So once I understood this is the structure of my film, it wrote itself. That was not a problem.
Right.
At all.
Right. Now, when they begin to crisscross, you could have had any number of... The crisscrossing itself is an intense journey for them because slowly, at first they're cynical, they're laughing at it, they're just like, we're having fun, nobody says these words, those kinds of things are happening. But slowly they get into what it must have been like for Bhagat Singh and Rajguru and Sukhdev and all those people. Now, in addition to that, you have the personal thing that happens to them, which is the death of Madhavan. So, what made you say that was an additional layer that I need to bring on to this? Because you wanted to bring that so they have developed this consciousness, and now when that consciousness comes on a personal event, it bursts that kind of a thing?
Yeah, because MiGs were going down. And one wanted to ask the establishment, what the hell is going on? Just do something about it.
Right.
And our kids were dying, young adults, young warriors, airborne warriors were dying in peacetime as such. Also, there are three parts to it. So while you're right, they were cynical, they were happy-go-lucky, they didn't have this major purpose in life except to make their millions or go to US or find a good life, all that. When they started enacting the parts of the young guns of India, if I may call it, the Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Sukhdev, Azad, and they started feeling what these guys went through. Jallianwala Bagh, there was a massacre there. That moves the Bhagat Singh character big time because Kakuri train robbery, walking to the gallows, being tortured ruthlessly by the regime, your fingers being broken, you've been taken to the gallows and you're gonna die, and you're told you can still choose to live and you choose to die because you don't want your voice to be stifled.
Right.
All these things, the characters रंग दे बसंती हो रहा था उनके ऊपर बसंती रंग चढ़ रहा था आहिस्ता आहिस्ता. तो the character started influencing the person as such. It quite often happens like that.
Right.
When Sant Tukaram was made, the actor who played Sant Tukaram actually went out on the streets and thought he was Tukaram.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right.
he really. Dilip Saab, after playing Devdas, had to go into rehab for 1 year because he went into depression. It's such a dark film. And what a film. It happens to us as such. When we go deeper into characters. I had good actors and we pushed them to go deep into the other side.
Right.
So obviously it started making and impacted them.
Right.
Now that alone, without a trigger, does not make sense. What happens then? Okay, I've got, मेरे अंदर भगत सिंह घुस गया, अब मैं क्या करूं? मेरे जो बेस्ट फ्रेंड है, वो because of corruption scandal मर गया. Now I have to do something.
Right.
So it was a trigger. It was a call for action. So Maddie's plane crash and death, and I would call it actually साहिल लुधियानवी का एक शेर है, which was on this wall here,
Okay.
कि बहुत दिनों से है मशगला सियासत का, बहुत दिनों से है मशगला सियासत का, जब जवां हो बच्चे तो कत्ल हो जाए.
Oh.
तो that was how the siyasat of the establishment was behaving with the young kids. On the other end, Tiananmen Square had shaken me, Mandal Commission had shaken me totally. And there was so much of all that from real life we borrowed. Everything is borrowed from real life. And then the real life started imitating the real life with the candlelit marches and all that.
Yeah.
So it's a fab journey, and the journey continues. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite song from the film?
It depends which mood you are in. I'll
Yeah.
I'll offer you that song because each song has its own place. साहिर का एक शेर है, खून फिर खून है, टपकेगा तो जम जाएगा. खून फिर खून है, टपकेगा तो जम जाएगा. तुमने जिस खून को मक्तल में दबाना चाहा, आज वो कूचा है बाजार में आ निकला है.
Okay.
कहीं शोला, कहीं नारा, कहीं पत्थर बनते. खून चलता है तो रुकता नहीं संगीनों से, सर उठाता है तो झुकता नहीं आईनों से. जुल्म की बात ही क्या, जुल्म की औकात ही क्या. जुल्म तो फिर जुल्म है, आगाज से अंजाम तलक. खून फिर खून है, 100 शक्ल बदल सकता है. ऐसी शक्लें जो मिटाए तो मिटाए ना बने, ऐसे नारे जो दबाए तो दबाए ना बने. खून फिर खून है, टपकेगा तो जम जाएगा. So inspired by this, I had wanted to use this poetry in the candlelit march and the lathi charge, and which became Khoon Chala.
Khoon Chala, yeah.
And
In fact, many of the words in this, what you just recited, are in Khoon Chala.
the film is inspired by Sahil Ludhianvi, is inspired by Nazrul Islam, is inspired by the revolutionaries. There's so much of material out there.
Yeah.
There was so much of material that you could not finish it. Yeah, you know, his letters from the jail. Once you start imbibing all that, everything happens on its own. I'm working on Karna right now from Mahabharata, and it's based in the mythical era. And it's taken me 6 years to understand Vyasa. I thought I knew Mahabharata. Rest are the versions, people how they feel about it, and you know. So to go to the seed, which is Vyasa's Mahabharata, it is dramatic because he is such a clever writer, and he's written it so beautifully, and he's manipulated you so well, and it's such a grey matter out there that once you understood how Vyasa was thinking, Karna wrote itself. There was no problem.
The screenplay is done?
Yeah, it's in 2 parts.
Yeah. Nice. This, I mean, I want to ask about Karna and also all your other films, which is Mirza, Delhi 6, Rang De Basanti, Aks. There is a story which kind of assumes a high concept, perhaps is the word. There is a certain bigness to the story that's being told that reflects on something. Like Delhi 6 is not just this NRI coming back and kind of, you tell something else, this extra that you tell in your stories. Where does that come from?
Life. life and life experiences.
Okay.
Uh,
Like even
Okay.
Tufan, for instance.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the fun comes from. I have so many acquaintances in, let's call it, old Bombay, because I'm from old Delhi, in Delhi. So I kind of relate to those, the food, the street food, and all that, and make sure that I'm there for Eid and Ramzan. And I meet people who want to are not being allowed to do what they should be doing. And it's been just, they're kept in by themselves. Nobody is. It's to break free from the system
Right.
of Bhaigiri. And so that was so fun. Also, is more inclusive. It tells us to love each other, and as such. And there's a conversion in the ideology of Paresh Rawal's character, because he finally, the human heart has to beat,
Right.
and the mind has to shut off at some point of time, and your soul needs to feel lighter.
Right.
Because I always feel, since you're talking about the bigger picture here, one day a switch will go off and everything will vanish for you, which is the time you'll die. It's not that I will not exist. You will stop existing for me. This world will go, you will go, all that will go. I am a strong believer that your soul remains, your energy remains, and there's enough science behind it. I'm not talking about some religious mumbo jumbo. There's some kind of a residue left. Now, which we call soul, some call Atma, some say वो परमात्मा में लीन हो जाता है, but there you feel something. There's some aura, there's some energy. For that soul to feel fulfilled, we have to start thinking beyond religious beliefs, political boundaries. Most importantly, religious, political, so everybody talks, that the whole gap between rich and poor, this chasm is amazing. And if you make 25,000 rupees in India, monthly salary, you are in the top 10% of India. I'm not talking about 25,000.
Right.
That means 90% of India is not even making 25,000 rupees a month.
Yeah.
2026. Wow. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
It's a biggest joke played on the have-nots.
So I get it when you're making social / contemporary films, or even borderline folk tales like Mirza. But when it comes to something mythical like Karna, where do you find the second layer, or the bigger purpose, or the higher purpose?
Karna was denied all his life. He was abandoned by an unwed mother, that the society will not accept a bastard child.
Right.
He got adopted by people who were so-called low caste. We can't even use that word today. Which he was known as Sutputra. So you have to be a charity's son. There was a warrior inside him. He was the son of sun god. And I wouldn't say the son of sun, but empowered by the sun.
Yeah.
So he had the solar power in him. That's how I'm interpreting.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a person as such. So when he wanted to learn, उसको जब शिक्षा लेनी थी, तो Dronacharya threw him out of the class, on whose name we have Dronacharya Award today, which goes to the best coach. He was the best teacher of all time, but he threw a person because he belonged to some other caste, and he would only teach the rich Kshatriya kings.
Right.
So it reminds you of old cricketing days, where only the Nawabs could enter the field of cricket, who've gone to London and all that.
Yeah. The pre-Kapil Dev days.
much pre that also. Yeah, I know. Seriously. He goes and learns from Parshuram and he gets cursed because he lied to Parshuram, I am a Brahmin child. Because Parshuram would only teach Brahmin. So all this is going on with him. The girl he loves leaves him for higher political gain, which is Draupadi, as such. So, and then he fights the greatest battle ever. He brings his army to the verge of victory. He finds friendship in Duryodhan, so a right man on the wrong side, fighting his own brothers. Given the option of, okay, Krishna tells him you are the eldest and you will get the throne. Duryodhan Yudhishthira will back off because you are the eldest brother. You will get Bharatvarsh, the throne of the country. Everything will be yours and the war will stop. He said, no, I don't want a throne. He walks away from that. And then how he dies, because they cannot kill him face to face. He's such a great warrior, they shoot him in the back. His own brother shoots him in the back. And even then he doesn't die. Only when the god begs him, you will not die, give me your virtues, all your good part of you. He said, given. And biggest Danveer ever. He would, whatever he had, he would give to the poor. So where do you find a tragic character like that? It's beautiful. He's so beautiful.
I'm glad you're making it because for some reason I thought I'd gotten news that the film was scrapped or something like that. So.
Oh, we did put it on a pause. As such. But the good thing about pause is, the bad thing about pause is first, that the plane is about to take off and pause button, you said, no, dude, you still have to sit in the plane or go back to the terminal, and you say, oh God. You are in your mind, you are about to take off. But the other side of it is, after that 15-day, 1 month period passes, you get an opportunity to look at your material again. So, Rahman is looking at the songs again. He said, listen, we've got a chance. So I said, oh God, AR is saying that. I wanted to do that to that song. We've already done 5-6 songs. I want to change this one there. And I have a new idea for that one. I said, great, because I don't tell him what to do, how to do, what songs to do. I tell him the story. He feels like gives me a song. It finds its place in the film. It's not like, oh, this is it. Like Tu Bin Bitaye, like Luka Chupi, were not planned songs in Rang De Basanti. We were doing the background score and the funeral scene of Madhavan. The Indian flag is folded with all honors, state honors by the Air Force and given to the mother, Waida Rahman. We saw, and I had put in the rough edit the theme track of the film. Saw it and he said, you know what, you remember Born on the 4th of July? I said, yeah, quite vividly. He said, when the coffins are coming back from Vietnam, there's a mother's song there which says, where are you, my blue-eyed boy? I said, what a fantastic idea. And that's the song Born, and I'm so glad I got to do a duet with Lata Mangeshkar and A.R. Rahman. That in itself is a moment in time for me. And which is frozen in time. That nobody is unshakable.
And it's also it's such a great song and a very unexpected song, like you say, because the mother character is there, but she's in the background. But to kind of have her feature in a song, which is usually never given to characters in the background, that's an amazing thing.
That's A.R. Rahman. He comes up with these things, and the thing is, when you're dealing with A.R. Rahman, or when you're collaborating with him, you have to be totally open. To get the best out of him. It is the biggest fallacy when you say, I feel this song should be, like a club song. Because we've always juxtaposed songs. Otherwise, where Khoon Chala comes, it would have been very dramatic music. People are getting shot and lathi charge and tear gas. No, it was a simple piano. So it played very differently. One day he walks in and he's humming Masakali, Masakali. So I'm saying, he's saying, what do you think of this tune? I said, more than the tune, I'm liking the name Masakali. So I'll call my pigeon Masakali in Delhi 6. And went back and, so actually it's Masakali ka namkaran was A.R. Rahman's.
Oh, nice. Are there characters or little story arcs that were there in the original, like the bigger screenplay that you had that later you had to kind of take away or something like that while shooting? Was it a bigger movie than what we finally got?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. We had 10 more minutes of scenes
Okay.
which went out, which was a heartbreak. They were very nice scenes. So they're on the DVD of other scenes. The most expensive day of shooting for Rang De Basanti was the exterior of the All India Radio. When they shot that, by which time the sound has gone to the public on radio, and the youth have started converging to All India. So there are around 10,000 people, and their dead bodies are brought out. And they lift up the dead bodies, they don't let it enter the public ambulance, and they take it away for the funeral. Now that was one day I had to call some 9-10 cameras so that we covered 10,000 people. If I make 5,000 look like 10,000.
Right.
Big day, makeup, dead bodies, quiet, tears, people crying, Soha, Alice, all that there, and so much of Gardi. We shot it, beautiful scene, we threw it out. Kept it outside. It was there at the end of the film. Just to keep disturbing me a lot. Something I'm feeling not happening. So I'm telling Bharti, there's something I'm feeling. And people are liking the film, on test screenings and stuff like that. On 26th December, I get up and I say, I know what's missing. So I call up Dr. Prannoy Roy, and then I get to speak to Mrs. Roy, Radhika Roy, and I said, I need your crew. She said, where? I said, all over the country. She said, when? I said, now, over the next 3 days. And she said, okay, I'll inform each city and just tell them. So we would take the NDTV van, go to a college, go to a university, go to a young hangout. My first stop was Bangalore.
Okay.
And we went to the engineering college, and I said the All India Radio has been taken over by students, but the commandos are firing at them. And the students went berserk. I said, wait a minute, we're doing it for a movie, it doesn't matter. And then flew to Calcutta, Jaipur, my assistant went to Jammu, Srinagar, one went down south to Chennai, and somebody went to some Indore, and Lucknow. And everywhere the youth had the same. So what I told Bharti, we've lit the fire, but it hasn't spread. And by which time I told Vinod to shoot the newsroom out here. So in 3 days we got 9 cities, all that footage, we put it in the film, and then the film felt complete. Yeah.
What is the creative decision or decisions that you took and the people around you were saying, please boss, reconsider this, please let's not do this?
Don't kill the boys.
Don't kill the boys, that was the biggest thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
How can you do that? Don't kill the boys.
At least let Aamir live or something like that.
No, don't kill them. And I was then taken for walks, manipulated by different people, through different people. So that was the biggest one thing.
Okay.
Why are you killing the boy? And yeah, that was the.
But you knew that had to happen, that the story would work only if the boys die. Because it was also reflecting history.
Yeah. So in one of the earlier drafts, after shooting the defense minister, the boys split.
Okay.
And they are caught in separate places, like crossing the city limit at a Naka
Okay.
and all that. Then it came clearly from Aamir, and he said, "यार हमने कुछ गलत थोड़ी किया है. We should own it." I said, "Perfect. Let's take over the radio station. Let's do that." It felt fundamentally he was right. So at the radio station, it was going on, and everybody told me. So Robaroo's song I had recorded, I had not played it for anybody. And I said, today we're going to do something different. There's no action. And I'd spoken with Binod Pradhan, a cinematographer, and asked him to put a 360 round trolley in that hall. And I said, you are here. I'm going to play something for you.
I'm getting ghost rush here.
Do whatever you want to do. Whatever. One camera, all that. And I said, ready? Built up the moment for them for 10 minutes, the suspense, got them to कि कुछ होने वाला है. क्या कह रहा है ये अब क्या हो गया हमारे? And we played Robaroo at full blast. And we switched the camera on. And they did their own thing. And that is the picture choreography of the song. And we got it in one take. That's it.
Lovely.
After looking at that, the rest of the girls in the crew were crying. And they came and they said, you can't kill the boys here. What is this going on? So, and everybody said that, and they sat me on the stairs. Do you feel it should be like that? And you know, when you're in the moment, you don't know what is right and what is wrong. People who claim, or I don't claim that.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
But I felt इनको अमर होना है तो इनको मरना जरूरी है. अमर होने के लिए मतलब अपने मरे बगैर स्वर्ग कहाँ मिलता है?
No, for me, like I said, it also works because the inspiration came from martyrs.
Yeah.
So that the fact that these people would amar, like you say, immortal, or whether they're martyrs, however you want to call it,
Yeah.
that would happen only if they die. Somehow, if they live, it just doesn't.
True.
The power does not.
No, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And because they are immortal, see, we haven't seen Bhagat Singh dead body.
Yeah.
Or Rajguru, or Azad, or Bismillah. We've heard the folklore. We know it's described graphically how they have died and how they were secretly burnt and all that.
Yeah.
So, even the dead scene of this film, we never see anybody dying except for Sharman's character, Suki. Rest are just going into a different dimension. Aamir is looking at Chandrasekhar Azad, Bismil and Ashfaqullah Khan are looking at Lakshman Pandey and Aslam. They walk through the door where the bomb blast happens. Karan and DJ, which is Siddharth and Aamir's character, are laughing on a joke when we freeze and we hear gunshots. And then they come alive in the mustard fields.
Yeah. One of the loveliest things about the characterization in this movie, everybody has something going on. Siddharth has a thing with his father. First, it's because he's distant, and then he realizes about the corruption. Aamir, he's like he falls for this this gori,
And he's escaping life.
And
There's
he's
a beautiful
yeah.
scene in Jama Masjid area where they're sitting in the car. The boys have gone to drop Aslam. And he's saying कि, you know what, मुझे कॉलेज के गेट के उस पार जाने से डर लगता है. I'm scared.
Yeah.
Because out here in the university, DJ ये है, DJ वो है, DJ cool है, DJ. Outside I'll be faceless, nameless. I'll be one of the millions.
Yeah.
So his greatest fear was facing life.
Yeah. And Sharman, that running joke about his virginity.
Yeah.
This is like, very classical in the way that you give one or two traits to each person and carry that through. But here it's mixed up with the bigger story so beautifully that it just comes together. And each character is so memorable. Usually when there are, let's say, 5 or 6 characters, you remember maybe 3. I'm not saying this is a rule, but it's very difficult to make everybody memorable. And at the end, I still remember my first screening when I saw the movie the first time in a theater in Chennai, and Sharman says, "Yaar, मैं तो कुंवारा ही रह गया," or something. Those I
Yeah,
don't
मैं तो
remember.
कुआरा ही मर गया.
मर गया. हाँ. So when at the end he says that, the audience just they were clapping, like not as a celebration, but that
Moment.
that echo,
Yeah.
that moment came across, and they were just so moved. And I still remember that was
Yeah.
how difficult was it to kind of put this together, because I'm not every movie is difficult on its at some level, but because of the number of characters here, the history happening on one side, this other thing happening, how difficult was the whole thing? I know you enjoyed the whole thing because you said
Yeah.
you slept very well.
Yeah. No, so it's a good one. It was not a question of whether it was easy or difficult. That never kind of occurred to me.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, there's a sense of equality complex in the film. There's no inferiority, no superiority. It's not that Aamir is the biggest star, so why is Sharman getting the lines? So I had to treat each one of them very, very individually
Yeah.
to get it. Obviously, Aamir remains the pillar, and as such. And all these lines I'd written much earlier, even before we went to the dialogue draft.
Right.
And in the original draft with Kamlesh Pandey, as such.
Right.
Certain lines like Aamir's line, DJ is saying, यार मैनू प्यार हो गया, finally he's dying. पता नहीं बच्चे बैंडेड के गोरे होंगे या काले. Now that's something I'd heard during my location visit in Punjab. The Surrey boy whose farm we stayed in, and he had a British wife. So I said, how's it going? And he said, यार पता नहीं बेटे की शादी है, गोरी लेके आ रहा है, बच्चे पता नहीं गोरे होंगे काले होंगे. And I remember we shot the past the Ashfaqullah and all those scenes and Azad scene there, and we had a great time. And my EPs were with me; they were both from London, Adam Bowling and David Reed. And my first lady was from Manchester. He was a boxer, so I needed somebody like that. And Adam and David, being English, had just done Snatch and Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrel. And now they are big time producers. Kingsman and all is there.
Right.
So we were talking, and there are food, there are drinks, all that is going on. Old grandfather comes, everybody touches feet. And so cricket ki baat nikal aayi usme. And so the guy went inside, whose farm, the young one, who's going to get married to a Gori now. And he comes with a grey nickel bat. So Adam and David say, grey nickel, like it's the top of the top bats in the world, even today. And my dream was to get I said, grey nickel, and I was in tears. He said, you want to play? I said, yeah, when? Now? It's like 11 in the night. We finished dinner, we are chatting. We go to the backyard, he switches the floodlight on, and there are nets in his house. So somewhere in a village tucked away in Punjab, we were playing cricket all through the night. And I got the line from there. Ki bhai beta ki pata nahi, but you just have to, life gives you everything. You need to absorb it.
Yeah. Well, I know you said that this came from ignorance at first, but even while you're writing your screenplay, you're passing it around to your ADs and all that, and getting feedback. Your wife's the editor, and so on and so forth. When this part that it's taking such a long time for this thing to happen, which is the biggest thing that can happen from an emotional point of view for the audience, which is the death of this character, Madhavan. Did that cause any kind of Like, did they tell you, can we do this a little earlier? Can we, kill him a little earlier so that the film plays out a little, there's a dramatic high? Because the first half, the beauty of the first half now in hindsight is that the dramatic highs come from the flashback portions. The Bhagat Singh, the Kakuri, when they're filming that, the railway thing. But the present day itself is not that dramatic in the first half. So can you talk about that?
Yeah, so there's a scene in the film. I don't have an exact answer. There are no exact answers when you're writing.
Yeah.
There's a scene in the film where these guys are watching, I think, Jallianwala Bagh, and the lights come on, and they are dumbfounded. Yeah. They all silent. They've just seen the biggest massacre, state-sponsored massacre, where kids have been shot at. And women are jumping with their kids into the well to die like that rather than a bullet from the British. Mm-hmm. And Madhavan opens the door and he looks at their faces and he says, "Koi mar gaya kya?" And they're all in a mood and they say, "Okay, let's go and get a drink." Maddie says. Atul's character, Lakshman, is walking past. He says, "Hey Lakshman, chal na hamare saath." He says, "Main peeta nahi hai." He said, "Fir bhi chal." So it was like that. That's how friends talk.
Yeah.
So they end up in a bar and everybody started drinking and Aamir and Sharman are binging because they have got this guilt.
Yeah.
What they just saw and what they are as such. And conversation goes to कोई भी देश perfect नहीं होता, उसे perfect बनाना पड़ता है. And they stage a mock funeral of Mahadevan.
They march him around the...
Yeah. As such. To which Aamir's character says, "साला कुछ नहीं होने वाला हमारा, एक पैर पास्ट में एक पैर फ्यूचर में, तभी तो हम आज पे मूत रहे हैं. हमारे को कोई याद नहीं रखेगा, गली का कुत्ता भी नहीं भौंकेगा जब हम मर जाएंगे. बट माधवन को, अजय को मिलेगी 21 तोपों की सलामी." And they all start enacting his funeral.
Yeah.
Coming to what you asked, that it was flowing so well that I didn't feel that yet. And his death changes everything in the boys. And they've just played the scene of assassination of Saunders.
Yeah.
So that's inside them, that they had shot this British officer who was responsible for Jallianwala Bagh.
Yeah.
So now, with the same spirit, let's shoot the defense minister, basically.
Do you see that because Atul is right-wing, these guys are kind of, I would say, like they're kind of undecided.
Yeah, totally.
In a way, do you feel that Rang De Basanti is a bit of a social media movie before social media even happened?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So social media is social media, just that the technology has shifted. Yeah. It was always there. It was always there. And it is a social media film. And I did have, I did lean more towards the left while making the film. Because the right kind of troubles me a lot. Mm-hmm. It's in the history of the world. If you're too right or too left, actually if you're too right, it is you're always in cahoots with the rich people. Mm-hmm. It's just that. Everything else does not matter. The whole narrative is after that. Partnership happens. So, and even if, so I wanted to stay somewhere in the center, actually, not even so much left.
Right.
So the film starts with Stalin's book and, Lenin, and Bhagat Singh says, "एक मिनट जेलर साहब, एक क्रांतिकारी दूसरे क्रांतिकारी से मिल रहा है." So that line is also from history. Yeah. Bhagat Singh actually told the jailer who was walking him, "Give me a minute, now one revolutionary is meeting another." And he finished the book.
Right.
He used to read that.
Whose character was the most difficult to cast?
Alice Patton.
Okay.
You see, the rest I knew. I'm talking from my point of view, not in terms of logistics difficulty.
Right.
The rest of them I knew like the back of my hand. Vaida ji was like my school teacher. Aamir, Sharman and all were like my buddies in college and school, and there's a bit of me there, there's a lot of my friends there, and Alice is one character, Sue McKinley, Alice Patton, General Patton's granddaughter, daughter, sorry. I didn't know her at all. I didn't understand how someone who's grown up in Britain wants to do a documentary about Indian revolutionaries. She's told you make film on Gandhi because Gandhi sells.
Yeah.
But she has a grandfather's diaries and she wants to convert that into a docu. Is that character I did not understand at all, and I have to give it to Alice. So my audition with her was over the video conferencing, and I just sent her some lines in Hindi, and 3 days she had figured it out, and I gave her a complete liberty to break into English when there's a high emotional moment. Actually, it happens to all of us.
Yeah.
Whatever our mother tongue is, if I'm Gujarati, I'll break into Gujarati if I'm on a high emotional thing, or you're Punjabi, you'll start talking like that, and so on and so forth. So Alice was most difficult for me.
Okay. When you say I didn't understand her, what do you mean? You wrote her?
As a person.
Okay.
As a person, I don't understand that world. So she was still a little alien to me.
Okay.
The idea of Alice was quite cliched.
Right.
One gory. So I realized that if she is just like them, but a lot more responsible.
Yeah.
That was my brief to her.
Yeah, and there's this wonderful irony, and I don't know if it's an intended one, or sometimes things can happen without realizing it, that it takes a Brit to come back to India and reawaken a bunch of Indians about whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's another thing about the movie that's lovely.
Yeah, a lot of people told me, why is it taking a British girl to come and awaken us?
Oh, that they asked you that?
Yeah, lots. A lot of people asked me that. I said, because we are sleeping, we are not getting up only. Otherwise, awaken now. Who is awakened?
Yeah.
So, and as a generation, we all slept through our Jawani, aram se.
The whole movie has the restlessness of youth. In fact, that's one of the first times I remember in an Indian film, the camera shaking a lot and doing a lot of things in terms of the cutting was different. Everything, there was this restlessness in the movie, this energy. At what phase did you plan that?
So, once the screenplay was done, and Binod was the first person attached to the film, and A.R. Rahman, and then Binod, then Atul Kulkarni, he was the first to be casted. We used to read a lot, me and Binod, and talk about it. So, I said, you know what, I see the first 1/3 of film, them as a group.
Yeah, they're together, yeah.
So let's not go beyond a 35 mm lens. Let's shoot between 24 to 35, 18 to 35. So always it's a group. The second 2/3 of the film we shot from 35 to 55 or 50. We went a little closer and started isolating them. And the last 1/3 of the film is shot from 70 to 120 lens. So you are in.
Yeah.
So it becomes claustrophobic. You are now into their heads. They're tight close-up. They're very strong portraits as such. And finally you open with a fisheye lens, which is 10 mm in the mustard field, so you breathe over.
Yeah.
So all that was totally planned. The other thing was my question to Binod used to be, I want to get into the heads. I want to get into, and not the audience. I'll get into their heads. Audience will get into their heads. And Binod, being such a genius, he invented a 3-axis head. So whenever Sue saw something, McKinley, Alice's character, in these boys, like when she imagined them as, if you see the camera would tilt and slow down.
Right, the Dutch
and
thing.
start going. It starts Dutching. On 3 axes, not just a Dutch like that. And it kept moving like this, like this. Then I said, let's use a technique where we used a technique in the past and we use the technique in the present. So the audience, because the technique is like that, starts feeling it's the same thing happening. So we shot quite a few sequences in 12 frames.
Okay.
So Simon Go Back, the Lathi Charge was the first of them. We shot it at 8 frames, 12 frames and stretched it. So you start getting a blur.
Yeah.
We did the same with Khoon Chala.
Right.
With the India Gate protest and Lathi Charge. So similarity started coming through between the moments. And so that was about it.
So this is not that's about it. That's a very planned way to, because it's like, well, maybe today you can kind of do that on a machine, but back then you had to plan the shoot itself like that.
Yeah, it was totally.
Yeah.
Because you're shooting. You're shooting on film.
Did the, this is a politically correct question, if you will. Did the concept of, are we endorsing vigilante justice? I'm sure you've been asked this quite a bit, but did that ever enter your head?
No.
Okay.
I'll tell you, no, there is a responsibility. I'm not shirking responsibility of vigilante justice. One of the letters Bhagat Singh wrote from the jail, he addressed it to Gandhi, hypothetical. And he said, you know what, you're the Mahatma. And I don't want us to get independence from Goras to be enslaved by our own, the Browns. So, if you're okay with Bhagat Singh shooting at Saunders to avenge Jallianwala Bagh, why am I not okay with shooting the defense minister for what he's doing? वो तो फिर भी they were oppressors. You are तो elected
You're one of us.
Yeah. That was one part of it. The second thing which a lot of people forget, but they don't forget, but they forget when they ask me this question, used to ask me. I said the character of Karan Singhania shoots his own father, Anupam Kher. Is that vigilante? Is that sad? It is a son's rebellion against his father. What is it? Or it's a mix of everything. What was that? For me, what is a bigger tragic moment? That I shoot my own father or shall I shoot the defense minister? So when it was balanced out like that, he had made a sacrifice by killing his own father. When Aamir Khan dies in the shooting and it's announced, his grandfather's character says, Vaheguru, inki kurbaniyan yaad rakhna. And he goes to the Gurdwara. He doesn't break down, doesn't cry. It's treated with great dignity as such. Having said that, not a single incident happened after the film where somebody picked up the gun and shot somebody. In fact, it was the other way around. Jessica Lal got justice, her case got reopened. Candlelit marches happened. So, people, audience, you have to trust them. They are not goofs. They're very intelligent. In fact, they are, when I say intelligence, my intelligence means emotionally intelligent. Because other degrees I don't believe as intelligent, that's slavery. So I have that concept also. We are training slaves in schools and colleges to serve some rich guy somewhere.
When Steven Spielberg, re-released E.T. after, I think, 20 years, if I'm not mistaken, he had a little crisis going on within him, and he changed the guns that the cops use to chase the kids at the end when they're taking off with ET to the spaceship. He changed them to walkie-talkies. Later, he regretted it, but at that point, he had a bit of a whatever, saying that what have I done and all that in a children's movie. I don't want to show guns and all that. But so similar to that, is there anything, if you revisited Rang De Basanti today, and if you had all the technology at your disposal, is there anything that you would change?
Yeah, so Aamir shot him with a pistol. I'll give him a machine gun or a AK-47 so that he doesn't miss, though he got it right.
Right.
So make sure that he doesn't.
That happened.
Yeah, I would not give him a walkie-talkie.
Walkie-talkie.
No way. That was the ET question. Anything else I would change? No, once something comes out of your heart, it's done.
Right.
It's out.
No, I meant that because you also mentioned that after Delhi 6, you wanted to revisit the movie.
It was incomplete, the painting.
But RDB felt complete to you. So that's...
It feels complete. Yeah.
Now, obviously, we're coming to...
No, also Delhi 6, another thing. My original script was that.
Okay, right.
So, I had shifted from my fundamental original beginning and end, where I said, let's make this film. Let's tell the story.
Yeah.
Let's tell a story about half Muslim, half Hindu boy who gets lynched by his own who love him.
Yeah.
Because he tells them that you want to find Allah, you want to find Bhagwan, look into the mirror.
Yeah.
He resides inside you, not in temples and mosques as such.
Yeah.
And they lynch him.
Yeah.
So that was a story. That, because I deviated from that, I had to do it.
Obviously, when you finish the film, it goes to the censors. Did they have anything at that point to say about the film itself?
Censors are kind because we were talking about Defense Minister and MiG-21 and all. They said, get approval from Defense Ministry. So there was a big hoo-ha in the press, you know, how press picks up controversial headlines more than anything else. And the Defense Ministry, the bureaucrats told us, remove the word MiG, remove the word Defense Minister, take out that dialogue. So all the things, they were very big. They were not small.
Okay.
Not called mega MiG. What do I call it?
Right. But I'm saying fixable things as opposed to like take out the scene and that.
Fixable.
Yeah.
Totally fixable. We were far more tolerant then, if I may say. So we said no, we put our foot down. We said the whole idea of making this film wouldn't be doing justice to the mothers who are sending their sons and have lost their sons, actually. In a MiG-21 crash during peacetime. So all those crash footages you see in the TV are real. And I've used the real one. So we said no. So they said, Raksha Bhavan bureaucracy said, listen, it will take you months, 10 months. We said, it might take you 6 months. So me and Ronnie were there. Ronnie saw my long face. You know, he said, what do we want to do? I said, let's just tell them it'll take 6 years. We are not changing. You take your time. Let's go back. It's not happening. So when we said that, it went up to the higher up in the order, the ladder. And media picked it up. And they started doing front pages. So the defense minister said, what the hell is going on? What's this film? Called his chief of army, navy, air force and let's hold a screening. And he came. It was very kind of Dr. Pranab Mukherjee. He went on to become the president of India, to give us that time to see the film. We had a lovely censor board chief also in Sharmila Tagore, who could balance things and rather than being a mouthpiece as such. And she balanced it beautifully. also. So he saw, he said, listen, my job is to defend the country, not to tell you what to make, not to make. You have all freedom of this thing. So the chief of army, chief of navy said he's talking about planes. So it's up to you, the chief of air force. And he said, son, you made a great film. There's only one mistake there, which I would request you to. After consulting his team and all that, it took a couple of hours. You, in the end, title you say 75 airborne warriors have lost their life. It's not 75, it's 205. So we corrected that, and without anything, the film went through.
The film releases. It's a big critical success. It's a big commercial success. How did that change you or affect you as a filmmaker?
Well, I called Syd Field
You actually called Syd Field.
on 26th night,
Okay.
same night. It was morning.
So by then the verdict was out.
Yeah, it's the first day only you knew, like people who were coming out of the theaters were, and we used to watch the movies that time, not sit in a cocoon and look at some box office figures.
Yeah.
Actually be with the people. And in the first day itself, I must have gone to 20 theaters and got the overall reaction, and it was quite unanimous.
Yeah.
And then people who were been in the industry, Aamir and Ronnie, told me that you got a blockbuster, Mehra. And I said, we all have one and stuff like that. But we didn't know it will assume a larger meaning. So I called Syd Field, and his wife Aviva handles his business. He's no more now. So I said, ma'am, I want to speak to Mr. Syd Field. And she said, why? I said, I want to do a class in screenplay writing. She said, what, do you want to come to LA, or there's one in Venice in June or something, summer of Europe. I said, no, I want to do one-to-one classes. He said, no, he doesn't do one-to-one. It's a class. It's going to cost you whatever, $15,000,
Yeah.
this, that. I said, no, ma'am, I really want to know. She said, okay, let me speak to him, whatever. So I called next day again. So she said, he's saying no, cannot. A class is a class, there's a structure to it, and 1:1 he's never done. So I said, can I have a word with him? Yeah, sure. So he came on the line and he said, son, I don't do this. You want to come here at something, join one of my classes? I said, no, I need to have a 1:1 interaction. So he got hassled. He said, listen, it's going to cost you a lot of money because it's per student is so much, and
Right.
I take 30 students at a time and all that. I said, Mr. Field, please don't mind it. Last night my film got released. It's a blockbuster. I'm a very rich guy today. Let me put this money to the best use. And we became best friends after that. He took me in June. I stayed in his house for 21, 25 days. In the garage wala kamra, they all have that.
Yeah.
And used to make his morning coffee before he came down. Coffee for both of us, and we would start at 9:30 and wind up at 1:30 every day. And he would give me exercises, we talk. It was Guru Shishya Parampara. Then he was very kind. I invited him to India to hold a master class for writers in Bombay, and he came.
Yeah.
Ronnie sponsored it. So all good people I got to meet during Rang Day. Yeah,
Well, what did he say about the movie?
he loved it.
Right.
He loved it because then it was the next year was the official entry for Oscars, and he was the spokesperson in Hollywood for it. He was there for all screenings, and he loved the film.
He loved
Yeah,
the film.
yeah.
Yeah. When was the last time you saw the film? And
I'm going to see it now on 30th,
Okay, but-
along with cast and crew. You are most invited. Please.
but when was the last time you saw it?
When we did 10 years of Rang Day.
So you haven't seen it in 10 years?
No.
Okay. So
I saw it after release, after 10 years, and then now.
Now for the
This
20th.
is my third or fourth screening.
Right. So when you saw it last time, what was the feeling? Was it pride? Was it like, was there a distance saying that I've been through all this? Was there like some a sense of achievement? What was it?
There's a sense of wonder.
Wonder.
Yeah. That, do I still have the same energy to make movies and the same passion and the same madness? What I see on screen? Are you the same guy? And you realize you're not, because the world does rub on you, you know, and they do blunt you. So I decided to go stay in my cocoon, not to talk to a lot of people, because you get influenced. Whatever you might say, you'll get influenced. So you'll never see me in premieres and any parties out here, in film parties or so. Small group and all. Yeah, I love hanging out. I hang out with AR and with Aamir, and we do talk a lot, but they're very serious about their work.
But you said the world rubs off. What do you mean on you?
The consciousness and the beliefs of the people.
Okay.
See, if in the industry, they'll talk about certain things, the way business is done, what is working,
Oh, like that.
what is not working. You know, these days this is done. Oh, OTT is this is happening. So all those, you start hearing all those. I realized when I made Rang De, nobody knew me. It was, they left me alone, so I need to be left alone.
One scene that still gives you goosebumps.
Actually, there are two. One is definitely the candlelit march and the protest and the establishment coming down on the people and the lathi charge, tear gas. The other scene is, one of my favorites is after Madhavan's funeral, Aamir comes to Alice's hostel room and they pack some parathas, where he breaks down and he says, we are common people. Ajay was a fighter pilot and he never got justice. What will we get?
Yeah.
His mother is in the hospital. After giving a husband and son to the country, she's been lathi charged. So I think both these were something which were very soon I was feeling we are moving towards. Yeah.
The Aamir scene you shot in sync sound, right?
Yeah. The whole film.
The whole film was in sync?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
We didn't
I
dub.
remember the sound during that Aamir scene was a little scratchy. Or, I don't know the word for it, but it was felt a little, yeah. Because,
No, we didn't think. It was 100% sync sound
sound.
film, no dubbing.
Okay, all right. If I may answer that question myself, the scene that till today gives me goosebumps is the entire Tu Bin Bataye, because now I'm watching it with the knowledge that this is the last happy moment they're going to have as a group. So for me, that just kills me every time I watch that song, because it's like, I know that, oh my God, it's almost like a last group snapshot of them as the carefree, lovely people that they are. And when I watch it, it's just, and the song is beautiful, and the picturization is so apparently caught on the fly kind of thing, you know, like obviously it's staged, but there's that looseness about it where you feel like it's like flipping through a photo album of
of friends.
Of friends, yeah. So that just kills me every time.
No, it's a good one.
Yeah. One criticism of the film that you agree with?
No, I think the critics understood the film. Some don't. So some even wrote it's a train hurtling down to crash and all that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 100%. Big magazine and stuff like that. But the people who got it, they're very kind. They're very kind to the film. They're very kind to me. They went out of their way to keep the film alive and write other stuff around it. Not just who acted, who directed, what was the camera work. What is actually, it's media that actually brought in what we call the RDB effect.
Yeah.
It was because of the media. It was not. If without the media and without the journalist, it wouldn't have been the film it was.
Right.
Yeah, and that's why I always feel when people ask me, one stupid question everybody asks me, will you make this film today? Will you be allowed to make this film today? I said, it's such a joke. Why do you ask me this question? And it's a very commonly asked question. I said, it is not a responsibility of a filmmaker. It's the responsibility of a journalist. They are the fourth pillar of the Constitution. So you talk, you write your articles, and based on that I'll make a film. Like Coffins in Tricolor was done, a documentary. I got inspired to make a film. Yeah.
One non-Aamir performance moment that you really cherish in the movie?
One.
Any. Like anything that just, you can...
There's one moment where Lathi charge has happened. They put Wahida ji in the hospital. They come back to meet Aslam in the Jama Masjid house, and Ompuri is very angry and quiet and silent, and he says, "Jao andar hai wo." Matlab, are you happy now? Everybody goes, sees him. They crack a joke. He says, "Samad dard ho raha hai," because his thing. And then everybody leaves, but Lakshan Pandey, Atul's character, stays behind. And he looks at him and says, "Sorry." And Aslam's eyes well up.
Yeah.
And even while shooting, that scene breaks me down every time.
Yeah. Okay. One thing about the film that even if people ask you to change, that you never would change.
Did the boys have to die?
We spoke about
that.
We
spoke about it. They still ask me that, including my sister. Why did you kill the boys?
And one thing that now you feel you could change, that if I'd had the chance, I would have changed this.
Yeah, it's a slightly technical thing, but it would have had a huge impact on the story. I should have shot the documentary on 16 mm.
16 mm?
Yeah, I wanted to. We were told that the labs are not processing it, and I wanted to shoot it black and white. That was the original plan. Then we said, you know what, we can play around in color correction and do whatever. But that's one place I felt should have been black and white. Pure, retro, black and white.
But was that a time when people were still using telecine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it had not yet gone to the other,
no,
the more the sophisticated so-called.
No.
So
we were still on the color analyzer and telecine, yeah, very much.
All right. For what it's worth, I think you still have it because I know you have those doubts, but from the way you described Karna, the way I thought that was going to be a short answer, but you just really went into it, and it's clear you feel very passionately about it. I'm very interested in knowing what you're going to do with that story, which has been told so often, but I want to see your lens on it. And thank you so much for Rang De Basanti, because it isn't very often that a film comes along that happens to be a good film and captures the popular imagination and does so many things. And seeing a movie after 20 years, which when I saw it recently for just to kind of brush up, so to speak, I thought I'd see a few scenes to kind of jog my memory, but I watched the whole damn thing. So I don't think there's a single scene in there that doesn't belong. And that rarely happens, because usually even in the good films, you find that there's always these one or two scenes that somehow feel, okay, this I'll just forward through this or something like that. And that's fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, and all the best.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Mritu towels from Ramraj, premium cotton and bamboo towels. Super soft, super absorbent.
Let's go holidays. Travel beyond boundaries.
WeCare Super Shield 100 Ultra. Defense broad spectrum sunscreen with 100 SPF. Buy now.